Hello everyone, my name is Alicia Jade and welcome back to the Get Me Off podcast. Is this thing on? Right, where do we begin? Hey guys, I'm back. Hello and welcome to my brand new podcast. It feels so weird to be saying that again. This has been in the works for, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe longer. This has been in the works for such a long time. So thank you very much for joining me. And I really hope you're as excited for this journey as I am. I have so many amazing guests coming up, so many interesting solo episodes. Honestly, there is just so much going on and I cannot wait for you to see and hear it. Wherever you get your podcast fix from, this will be available on YouTube, obviously with the video versions, and then on Spotify and Apple Podcast if you're kind of a listening rather than a watching kind of person. So what is the Get Me Off podcast? And also, where did the name come from? So basically, I've had the ideas and all of the episodes planned, well, some of them, for such a long time. And we have a girl group chat, me and a couple of my best friends, and I couldn't think of what to name the podcast. That was like the only thing left that I hadn't done was the name. And it was annoying the hell out of me because everything else was planned and I just wanted to get started and I genuinely didn't know what I was going to call it. So I was sat on a train and I usually drive to London, but this time I got the train and I hate trains. Like I physically hate trains so much. And it smelt, it was horrible, it was hot, everyone was ill and I didn't want to get ill on the train. So I was messaging in the girl group chat and I was putting like a screenshot of like the episodes that I want to do and the kind of graphics that I'd come up with and stuff like this. And I just said, girls, look, I really need you to help me come up with a name. And during this conversation, I put in the chat saying, I can't deal with this train anymore. And then in capital letters, I put, get me off. And one of the girls replied and said, there's the name of your podcast. So that is literally how the name of this podcast was born. And I love the fact that it has like a double meaning to it. So obviously you have like stop the world, get me off. Obviously you have the first instance of the word that everybody would, instance of the phrase that everybody would think of. And it's all completely relevant because it's all going to be about lifestyle, psychology, money, finance, business, like just general life stuff like sexuality, therapy. All of these different things are going to be topics for conversation, and there's just so much that I want to talk about. So far I have filmed with quite a few amazing guests. I've got people talking about books, I've got bloggers, I've got presenters, I've got real estate people, I've got episodes on mortgages. Well, who else have I got? We've definitely got an athlete in there. There's so many different interesting people that I've managed to pull together. And I really think this is something that I'm going to enjoy sharing because I really enjoy sharing stories and talking to people about how they got there and what they did and what their advice is and all this kind of stuff. And it's just really interesting to me. So I'm hoping it'll be interesting to other people as well. If it's not, I'm really sorry. Just give me some advice on what to do. When I say everything finally came together for me to start this podcast, it just really did. So the name came along, then the venue came along, and then all of the guests started agreeing to be on the podcast and this kind of stuff. And it really, everything just kind of slotted into place. And I'm going to be talking about manifestation and all that kind of stuff on here at some point in episodes also. But I really just think you need to listen to the universe and signs and reading the energy around you and what things happen when they do means. Because let's talk about this building, for example. So I am currently filming in what is now called the Bugle House in Southampton. And it is absolutely stunning. It is the most beautiful wedding, party, events venue. And there may be some stuff in the works that I'll be hosting some workshops and events here, maybe in the future. It's just an idea that I came up with. But that would be really exciting to do. And honestly, this venue is just absolutely beautiful. So years ago, let's start from the beginning. Back in the day, this venue, I think, was a hotel, and it was all to do with like people would stay here when they got off the Titanic and all of this kind of stuff. So the amount of history that there is in this building is wild. Me and my mum also looked at this building for potentially a business opportunity in terms of turning it into like a boutique hotel and an events venue, something like that. And we looked at it quite a few years ago, but it was just going to take too much money to invest into, like, more than what we had. And it was quite run down. There was a lot of work that needed to be done on it, and it just didn't look anywhere near like what it does now. So then fast forward a couple of years, I started one of my businesses, Southampton Focus. And this for me was always like a really pinnacle point of historical Southampton and what it looked like, and one of the original buildings. So the cover for the advertising brochure of my business, and I think it's on the front of the flyers as well, is a picture of this building, obviously from the outside, because at that point this building wasn't anything. Then obviously thinking about the podcast, I came in and did a video of this building for Southampton Focus maybe like a year ago, something like that, because it's only been open for around a year. And then when it came to thinking about podcast venues, for some reason, this just popped into my head. I think it came up on Instagram or something, I don't know. And I already knew the people from here, like the girls that run this. So I just kind of sent a message out of the blue, and I was like, look, this is my plan. I want to do a podcast. I really want to collaborate with as many people as possible. This venue is stunning. Like, could I film my podcast in here? And I had no idea whether I could get the equipment in here, how the lighting would look. I had no idea about anything. And lo and behold, they said yes. So when I say everything fell into place, like, this building means so much to me. And I know that sounds so crazy because it's not mine. It never has been mine. I just really love this building and everything that it's about, and seeing it being restored to its former glory, and all the amazing fireplaces and everything. It is just stunning, and it's so my style, and it really just came together. So what has been happening in my life? Well, there has been a lot. If you have followed me on Instagram and or YouTube or whatever for any time at all, you will have seen bits and pieces. You'll know that I used to have a podcast with my best friend. We discontinued that, but I'm back now and I'm going again. So there's been many things going on. Obviously, if you don't know me, I have multiple small businesses, and I work in fashion, PR, communications, marketing, all of that kind of stuff. I have been a blogger now for, I want to say, like 10 years, but my first YouTube channel I started when I was about 16 years old, and there's some really embarrassing videos of me out there, like doing outfit of the days in like floral jeans and a mustard top, and oh God, it's bad. But that was real back in the day, and that was when everybody used to take the mick out of people for doing YouTube and posting pictures and things like that. So I stopped it, sadly, and then picked it back up again in about, I want to say, like 2016, something like that. So yeah, it's been a while. So almost 10 years. No, it must have been sooner than that, because I was at university when I did it. It was definitely sooner than that. But anyway, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm like a veteran now, like a veteran in the social media world. But I guess today, obviously, my businesses is what I focus on. I also obviously have my YouTube, my page, and now this podcast, which is super exciting. What else is there to say about me? I have a degree in fashion PR and communications. I am also studying a degree in psychology. I'm doing it online, as well as doing all the other 5 million other things that I do, which I have to say is pretty challenging, but I'm enjoying it. Psychology is something that I'm so interested in, and something that will be featured on this podcast, because I feel like unless you are willing to study a psychology degree or like watch a documentary, those little bits of information necessarily aren't coming through. So I want this to be like a really casual way for people to find out different things that might help them with relationships or business or in everyday situations. Personal life wise is not really something that I ever share. However, If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I did get engaged in January of this year, and I am now no longer engaged. This was my choice. It was a decision that I made and that I felt was right for me. Obviously, my life has changed dramatically in the last couple of months because of this. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm here to start with a fresh slate. It's been wild. So what's going to be going on the podcast, you may ask? Well, as I say, we're going to cover everything lifestyle-y, from psychology to business, all of these other different things. And I am so welcome for people to write in stories that they want to share, to write in questions that they have, and I can do question and answer episodes, things that they want me to get professional advice on. So if I have a guest coming on that you want to ask a question, I can absolutely do that. So yeah, I'm going to think of ways that I can work this, but obviously my Instagram DMs are always open for people who want to ask things. And if there's something on the podcast that you find interesting, or maybe something that you want to give an opinion on, again, my DMs and emails are always open. And I really want this to be like a communicative effort. That was a big word. Communicative effort at making this podcast super conversational and actually genuinely trying to talk about things that people want to hear about and help people. So I hope this has been a good insight into the workings of the podcast and what's going to be coming up. Now that I've launched it, I will immediately drop 3 episodes for you to see. So this is the introduction, and you'll have 2 shiny episodes alongside this, so you can really get into the nitty-gritty and we can start talking about all these different things. I really, really hope you enjoy this as much as I do. As I said, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. And then, of course, I am on Instagram at the Southampton Girl. So please come find me. Please ask questions. And yeah, please enjoy. But thank you so much for joining me for the introduction of the Get Me Off podcast. And I'm so excited to share everything with you. Yay!